Hello friends and welcome to Virtual Tech Box YouTube channel. Today I am going to show you the installation and configuration of vCenter Server Appliance 7. For better understanding, I have divided this video in 4 parts. Let's start. First of all, I will do the host entry for the VCSA in my DNS manager. I will go to my DNS manager. I will right click on my domain, new host, host name VCSA 7, IP address 192.168.0.20. I want to create the pointer record, add host, OK. DNS host entry for the VCSA has completed. This is my VCSA 7 ISO. I will right click, mount. I will go to UI installer folder, Win32 folder. I will double click on installer. Install. Next. Accept. Next. I will provide the IP address, username and password of the ESXi host on which I want to host my VCSA virtual machine. Next. Yes. I will set the VM name VCSA 7. I will set the root password for the VCSA. I will confirm the root password. Next. My setup is tiny. Next. I will select the data store and enable the thin disk mode. Next. I will set the IP address for the VCSA. I will provide the subnet, gateway and DNS details here for the VCSA. Next. If you are happy with all the settings, press finish. Stage 1 deployment has started. It will take time to complete. Our stage 1 deployment has completed here. I will press continue. Now I will move ahead with the stage 2 installation. Press next. I want to enable the SSH for the vCenter server. Next. I will create the single sign-on domain here, vSphere.local. Username for the single sign-on is administrator. I will set the password for the single sign-on domain. I will confirm the password. Next. I don't want to join the CIP. I will untick. Next. If you are happy with all the settings, press finish. OK on warning. The stage 2 deployment has started. It will again take a lot of time to complete. You can see here our stage 2 deployment has completed, and this is the web interface link of the VCSA. I'll press close. It will redirect me to the web interface of the vCenter server. Advance, proceed. Before moving ahead with the web interface of the vCenter server, I will first go to management interface of the vCenter server. I will go to management interface of the vCenter server, which is https://192.168.0.20:5480. Advance, proceed. I will provide the username root, password for the root, login. These are the summary of the vCenter server. This is the version of the vCenter server, and this is the build number of the vCenter server. Under monitor, we can monitor here CPU and memory. Here we can monitor disk related. Here we can monitor network related things, and here database related. In access, you can go to edit and change the access setting. Under networking, if you want to change anything related to network, you can just go to edit and change the setting whichever you want to. Under time, I will edit in time zone. I will set my time zone. Save. Under services, these are all the services. You can select any of the service and restart or stop the service. Here you can find the update. Under administration, you can change the password and you can set the password expiration settings. I will go to password expiration settings, edit, and this is my lab setup, so I will set as no, password never expires. Save. Under syslog, you can configure the syslog settings. If you go to configure, provide the syslog server IP address and port number here. Under backup, if you go to configure, provide the IP address of the FTP server and credential of the FTP server. You can schedule the backup here, and you can give the password if you want to encrypt your backup. You can set the retention period for your backup. If you want to do the one-time backup, go to backup now. Provide the IP address of the FTP server, username and password of the FTP server, and password if you want to encrypt your backup. And you can take the one-time backup of the vCenter server. I will press cancel. Under action tab, you will find reboot and shutdown option. I will log out from the vCenter server management interface. I will now go to web interface of the vCenter server. I will launch the HTML client. I will provide the username administrator@vsphere.local. I will provide the password. Login. I have logged into the vCenter server 7. I will now right click on my vCenter server. New data center. I will give the name mylab-dc. Okay. Data center has been created. I will right click on the data center. New cluster. I will give the cluster name as mylab-cluster. Okay. Cluster has been created. Now I have to add the host to the cluster. I will right click on the cluster, add host. I will give the IP address of the host 192.168.0.180. Username root. I will give the root password of the host. Next. Okay. I will ignore the warning. Next. Finish. You can see here ESXi host has been added successfully to the cluster of my vCenter server. Now I have to join the Active Directory domain. To join the Active Directory domain, I will go to menu, administration and configuration under the single sign-on. I will go to Active Directory domain. Second option is there, Active Directory domain. I will click on join AD. I will provide the domain name. virtualtechbox.com. I will provide the username administrator. I will provide the domain administrator password here. Join. Message is coming that we need to reboot the vCenter server. To reboot the vCenter, I will go to management interface. I will provide the username root. I will provide the root password. Login. I will go to action and reboot. Yes. To monitor the reboot process, I will start the ping to the vCenter server. After RTOs, it started pinging, which means it has restarted. I will go to Active Directory users and computers. I will go to computers under my domain. There I can see the hostname of the vCenter server is there, which means vCenter server has joined the domain successfully. I will log into the vCenter server again with the web interface. I will provide the login name administrator@vsphere.local. I will provide the password. Login. Now actually I have to add my Active Directory domain under the identity source list. For that I will go to configuration under the single sign-on. I will click on identity provider and identity source, click add. We have already joined the Active Directory, so it is showing the domain name already there. I will click on add. I will refresh once. You can see my Active Directory domain is now under the identity source list. Now I have to add the domain admins to the administrator groups. For that I will go to users and groups, I will find the administrators group. I will go to edit group. From drop down I will select my Active Directory domain name. I will search the domain admins. Save. Domain admins now added to the administrators group. I have to now give the administrator rights to the domain admins on my vCenter server. For that I will go to menu, host and cluster. From left side I will select the vCenter server. And on right side under permission I will click on plus. From drop down I will select my Active Directory domain name. I will search their domain admins. Searching the domain admins. I will select the domain admins. Propagate to children. These are the multiple roles which we can assign. I have to assign the administrator role to the domain admins. I will tick on the propagate to children. OK. You can see the domain admins under the permissions of the vCenter, and role is showing as administrator. I will now log out from the vCenter server. I will log in again with the domain administrator password. I will give the username administrator @virtualtechbox.com. I will give the domain administrator password. Login. You can see here I have logged in as domain administrator to the vCenter server. Now domain admins have the administrator rights on the vCenter server and single sign-on both. I will wrap up my video here. I hope you like this vCenter Server 7 installation and configuration video. I request you to subscribe to my channel, like and share the video. I will see you in the next video. Thank you.